Welcome in to OutKick the show. I'm your fearless leader. Friday edition of the show. Encourage you to go read the mailbag. Lots of good stuff there for Friday. I hope all of you, like I said, are having a great Friday and about to roll into a great weekend. I'm about to finish off my work week, at least for the weekdays, with Lock It In, 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 Central, 2:30 Mountain, 1:30 Pacific, but a bunch of different things I want to hit. Right off the top, the Iowa absurdity continues to grow as cancel culture spreads, and I'm not sure that's a good thing at all, even if some of the people getting canceled are stupid and deserve it. College football gambling picks, going to make you rich. 10 picks, including 2 tonight. Friday night football going on. DirecTV doesn't want the NFL Sunday Ticket, and what, if anything, did we learn from Eagles-Packers last night? Okay, the Iowa story. This is an amazing story. Kind of a fascinating jumping off point for the era in which we live right now. Kid who's in college goes on college game day, holds up a sign saying he wants money Venmo'd to him so he can buy more Busch Light. That sign goes viral. The sign goes so viral, in fact, that he's able to raise millions of dollars for the local Iowa Children's Hospital, of which, by the way, I am giving on behalf of OutKick $5,000 to this kid, Carson King, okay? As I said on the show this morning. So, as a part of this, the Des Moines Register, a local newspaper, it's almost $2 million, buddy. And like, if you correct me and you are a corrector and you are wrong, and I happen to look over and I see it, I'm going to block you, okay? Because I don't want your stupidity to throw me off. All right, millions is not disingenuous, all right? You're gone. He's going to raise $2 million. That is millions of dollars, all right? If I happen to look over and you are a stupid person who is making an insignificant change, the most recent number that I have seen is over $1.8 million. He is going to raise millions of dollars, meaning that 1 million and 2 million represents millions, all right? So if I happen to look over, and a lot of the times I don't even see the comments, but if I happen to glance over and I see what you are sending and you are a douchebag, and I think to myself, why would I allow you to comment when you are that big of a douchebag? You are gone forever, never allowed to return. Kisses into the wind you go. All right, so this Iowa kid has got the ability to raise millions of dollars, which he is going to do before all is said and done for the Iowa Children's Hospital. The Des Moines Register decides that they are going to do a story about him. And as part of that story about him, for some reason, they decide to do a background check. Now, no one has explained why you need to do a background check about a kid creating millions of dollars in benefits for a children's hospital. Maybe, possibly, you could do a criminal background check to ensure that he hasn't abused children or something if he's going to be in close proximity to children. That's really the only thing I can think of that would make sense in this context. You certainly don't need to do a deep dive of his social media history. A reporter does at the Des Moines Register. He finds 2 inappropriate tweets that the guy tweeted when he was 16 years old. Terrified of what might befall him, this Carson King kid decides to go public and apologize for tweets that he sent when he was 16 years old. I haven't seen the tweets. I don't know anybody that has. My understanding is they're related to a Tosh.0 skit and not actually that offensive in the grand scheme of things if you consider them within that context, okay? So, as a result, the kid is outed as an awful human being, despite the fact that he's raising millions of dollars for a children's hospital. And the reporter, it turns out, stop me if you couldn't have foreseen this, has actually tweeted way more racist and inappropriate things that lead to him being fired by the Des Moines Register, the local newspaper. Now, here's the issue. We are living in an era where basically there is perpetually mutually assured destruction almost all the time for casual people who end up getting famous virally overnight and have been on social media for a long time, especially if they've been on there since they were teenagers, because they're not thinking about their Twitter account as being searched like they're a presidential candidate. They're not expecting the spotlight to suddenly shine upon them. What I am telling my kids is don't ever be on social media, period, right? There's nothing to be gained from it, and really it can only hurt you in the grand scheme of things, unless you have a job like mine where you're required to be on social media. I really don't understand why people would feel compelled to create social media accounts and risk their job every day, all day long, over what they put out there. That's neither here nor there. Lots of people are doing it. But the larger context here is I'm torn on this because I'm so against cancel culture. And some people are like, well, I don't understand what cancel culture is. Cancel culture is not deciding that you don't like something and choosing not to support it. That's called being a capitalist in the marketplace of economics, right? If I like a television show and I watch it and I tell you other people to watch it as well, that's fine, right? If I don't like a television show and I choose not to watch it, that's fine too. Cancel culture is going a step further, though. It's saying, I don't like this television show and it shouldn't exist. I don't like this comedian and he shouldn't be able to perform at this location. I don't like this speaker and he or she should not be allowed to come to my college campus and speak there. There's a difference between not supporting something, which is fine. That's the marketplace of ideas. If you don't like the Des Moines Register's reporting, I would encourage you not to ever spend any money on the Des Moines Register's product. That's the market voting based on whether or not they like a product. That's fine. Choosing to say that the product shouldn't exist anymore, even if some people like it, is cancel culture. And I'm fundamentally opposed to cancel culture. So I think the challenge here is figuring out what's the appropriate way to respond to cancel culture. When you see something happen like what happened to this kid, this college kid, is the appropriate thing to do to cancel the reporter, in which case you're canceling one person and canceling out someone else and sending the message this is not a one-way street. The cancel culture can go both ways, and there are certainly well-meaning people who believe that the way to combat cancel culture is to actually threaten people who are trying to use cancel culture as a weapon and use it against them as well. I certainly understand that. That's retributive justice. That's an eye for an eye. Of course, the flip side of an eye for an eye is an eye for an eye leaves both sides blind, right? That's the natural following. And by and large, I think that trying to cancel out other people is creating a Hatfield and McCoy situation that actually creates more divisiveness. The better opportunity here is that reasonable minds all rise up and actually agree that cancel culture is wrong, that it makes no sense whatsoever, no matter what your politics are, for you to suddenly not be able to host the Oscars because a decade ago you made a joke that some people now consider to be homophobic, or that you should not be able to direct a movie, Guardians of the Galaxy, because years and years ago you made jokes that some people found to be inappropriate, right? And there are all different sorts of examples of this, and what we have is a war where both sides are firing at each other. Cancel culture is not the answer, no matter what your politics are, no matter what your race, your religion, your gender, no matter any of those things. Cancel culture is just bad for the country. And so I think we need a group of reasonable people who are left-wing, right-wing, independent, whatever it is, to stand up against cancel culture. And I'm hoping that the way this Iowa story played out is a pivot point here, because my argument, straightforward, is we should have a ban in general on media writing about teenagers and tweets. That shouldn't be a story. Just like teenagers who commit crimes get their entire criminal histories wiped out once they become of the age of majority, once you get to be 18 years old, why would we as a society have decided, you know what, that person who stole a car when they were 15 or 16, we're going to wipe their record clean when they turn 18, but their tweets that they sent, we're going to continue to use against them for the rest of their lives? It makes no sense. And so I think there's a couple of things. One would be nobody goes after teenagers. Like, we have the same standard for media that we have for crimes. You don't cover it. You just ignore it, right? The other one would be, how about a statute of limitations? We have statutes of limitations in all sorts of crimes. If you were not offended by something that happened in the last 2 years, you can't go back 25 years and suddenly be like, oh my God, look at this tweet from 25 years ago. This is unacceptable. You can't be retroactively offended by something that didn't exist except for the fact that you went and looked for it and decided to make it a thing, right? I think that's a reasonable perspective, right? If you want to be outraged and offended by culture today, then you have to be outraged and offended by the culture within 2 years of it actually existing, okay? Going back to 2004 to be offended by something is ridiculous. Going back to 1994 is even more ridiculous. Everybody's not running for president of the United States, right? Because I think what it does is it creates a disinterest culture and a belief that terrifies everybody out there from saying what they actually believe because they're afraid they're going to get canceled from their jobs, from their school, from their college, whatever it actually is. We need a robust, uninhibited First Amendment, and you can't have that when there are people out there saying, not, I disagree with you. I disagree with you is fine. Even you're an idiot. You're an imbecile. You have the most ludicrous argument of all time. All of those things are fine. That's part of the marketplace of ideas. But I disagree with you and you don't have the right to your opinion is cancel culture, and that's unacceptable. Should not exist at all in our society today. Those are my thoughts in general on the larger context surrounding this Iowa college game day beer controversy. All right, let me give you some picks. Regardless of who you are, you're not going to cancel out this culture because it is a winning culture. And that winning culture includes the blood bank guarantee. Tap the vein, boys and girls. Alabama is going to cover against Ole Miss. We are 5-0 so far in the college football season on the blood bank guarantee. 5, count it, and 0. Some of you are 4-0 because you didn't get the best number in that Florida-Kentucky game. But the rest of us are 5-0. Don't be fade the picks guy. Don't try to cancel these out. Tap the vein, boys and girls. Alabama covers against Ole Miss. Tonight, I got Penn State against Maryland. Just under a touchdown. I have got Arizona State at Cal, the under 40. That, my friends, is going to be a runner, I believe, of an under. And that's going on tonight. Those are 2 Friday games, all right? Those are 2 Friday games. Penn State, -6, -6.5, wherever it is right now, under 7. And I've got the under on Arizona State Cal. Northwestern, Wisconsin, I've got Wisconsin. I gave it out at 23.5. It's around 24 right now. I think it's going to be a blowout. I don't think Northwestern scores 10 or more. UConn, UCF, love UCF massive here. Absolutely love them. The over in MTSU, Iowa. I've got, like I said, Bama's the blood bank. Virginia, Notre Dame. I've got Notre Dame. It's up to 12.5 now. I gave it out at 11. Arkansas. I know the Razorbacks are awful. I understand the Razorback faithful out there who say, why in the world would you ever believe in Arkansas? They're oversold at this point. You were awful against San Jose State. You're not going to be that bad going forward. I've got Arkansas plus 23 or 23.5, depending on where you are. USC at Washington. USC at Washington. I think Washington is going to blow out USC. We know now that USC is going to be down on their 3rd string quarterback. That's going to pay out in a negative way with Chris Peterson with a week to prepare for him. I like Washington big in this one. And UCLA, Arizona, the over. I love the over here. Those are my 10 gambling picks. This is a big deal. DirecTV said today to the Wall Street Journal, AT&T DirecTV, the boss of the company said, and this is a big deal that I'm going to write about and you need to pay attention to. They don't want the NFL Sunday Ticket anymore. This is a big deal because it's the first time that I've ever seen a company coming out and saying, essentially, we overpaid for a rights package. And in fact, they're saying they overpaid for a rights package because they're paying $1.5 billion a year because cord cutting is happening so rapidly. And as a result, DirecTV is saying now we don't want the Sunday Ticket. A lot of people think the Sunday Ticket is more popular than it actually is. Only 2 million customers subscribe to the NFL Sunday Ticket per year. DirecTV, last I saw, has around 20 million subscribers. So only 10% of DirecTV customers subscribe to the NFL Sunday Ticket. Cord cutting is starting to hit the sports industry in a big way. And what's also fascinating about this is the NFL had the right to get out of this deal. The NFL had the right to get out of the NFL Sunday Ticket deal with DirecTV, and they didn't choose to exercise that right. Why would the NFL not have done that? Because it suggests DirecTV is paying more than the market value for what DirecTV is paying for the NFL Sunday Ticket. So a lot of people out there are like, oh, Amazon will buy it. I thought maybe they would, or Apple, or whoever it is. None of those companies are actually interested in buying it at the rate that the NFL Sunday Ticket is being charged to DirecTV AT&T. So this is a big deal because it suggests that maybe the marketplace for NFL content is not as robust as the NFL would have you believe. And this is the first time I've ever heard of an NFL franchise rights holder effectively, right, which is what they are with the NFL Sunday Ticket, saying, you know what, we don't want this anymore. We would choose to pass on it if we could. The NFL has stuck with them through 2022, so that means the NFL Sunday Ticket is staying there. And I'm curious whether this means that the NFL is going to have to reconsider the value of the NFL Sunday Ticket package and maybe, and this is what I've argued for years, maybe establish a policy that's more akin to college football. The great thing about college football is you can pretty much see every game. If you have a cable or satellite package, you can watch every game. I don't understand why the NFL has stuck to a regional telecast model. I think every NFL game should be on television, just like every college football game is on television. You should be able to sit on your couch, just like it's the NCAA tournament, and click around to wherever you want to go and watch every single game. Now, your free game on CBS or Fox can be your local regional affiliate, but everybody else, like they should have them on FS1, they should have them on FS2, they should have them on ESPN, they should have them on ESPN2, they should have them on NBC Sports Network, they should have them on CBS Sports Network. When it gets to be noon Eastern, noon Central, 1 o'clock Eastern, and there are 8 games kicking off, they should be on 8 different channels, and everybody in the country should be able to pick which NFL game they want to watch. So those of us who happen to live in a crappy regional area with a crappy regional game aren't left watching Red Zone and not able to watch the game of our favorite game. And in fact, all of the scores should be up at the top of the screen, just like with the NCAA tournament, and you should be able to be like, oh, this is a close game. I'm going to flip over and go watch another game as opposed to the one that I'm on right now. I'll write about this and talk about it more, but in the meantime, this is a canary in a coal mine moment for sports rights fees because I can't remember anybody ever saying this is the highest, we paid too much for a sports right package. All right, last night, what did we learn? Eagles against the Packers. We learned that Carson Wentz and Aaron Rodgers are a whole lot of fun to watch when they're both dealing. I know that Packer fans are upset that they lost 34-27 last night, but to me, what you got from Aaron Rodgers is a sign that he's still got his fastball, that he still has the ability to play at the absolute apex of his career. He was scintillating last night. I know he wasn't perfect, but this was a great Thursday night game. And by the way, part of the new CBA, I think, should be that every NFL team gets a bye week before their Thursday night football game, so that everybody's fresh and so we can get as good of a possible of a Thursday night game. Last night was great. Carson Wentz and the Eagles, props to them. They come out, they get down 2-0, 10-0. They're staring 1-3 right in the face. They come roaring back, make all the plays they need to, and the Eagles are now still alive in the NFC East. And, of course, the Packers are alive in the NFC North. Both of those divisions, particularly the NFC North, look like there's a lot of drama still headed their way. All right, I appreciate all of you. Short show because it's Friday, headed into the weekend. I got to go get ready for my television show on FS1. Lock it in. I love all of you. My name is Clay Travis. This has been OutKick the Show. Kisses, DBAP unless you need to SBAP. Thanks for consuming all our content. Go read the mailbag and go play in our NFL Pick'em game. Sorry, our college football Pick'em game, which is up right now. You can win 10 grand of my money this weekend. Love you guys. Kisses. See y'all.